Hello friends, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Kat, and if you're new here, we've been baking our way through some of my best friends are cookies by Emelia Jackson. Today's recipe is an orange sandwich biscuit, and to get started, it is Sunday evening here. We have had a super busy weekend. We've done a lot of work in the garden, and we've had my niece's birthday party, and I start a new job on Monday, so I'm not going to have a lot of time. So I just thought I'd get started. So we've got in here 110 grams of caster sugar and the zest of one orange. And we're just going to let this mix together so that the orange oil distributes itself into the sugar. So that's just given it a slightly yellowy orange tint. So to this bowl, we are going to add 1 egg yolk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 165 grams of butter. And we're just going to mix this together until it's combined. So in this bowl, I've got 300 grams of plain flour and half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of baking powder. And we're just going to add that and mix it until it's combined. So that's formed a pretty good looking dough. And it does say to wrap this in plastic wrap and refrigerate it for 1 to 2 hours. But I don't have time to do that tonight. I am just going to roll it out. It's not very warm in my kitchen at the moment, so I think it will be fine. And if my biscuits spread a little more than they should, I'm not going to worry about it too much. So it says to roll it out to be 3 to 4 millimeters thick. I am doing 4. And it says that we will get 23 completed biscuits. So I am expecting that I will get 46 individual biscuits. And it says to use a 5 centimeter fluted cutter, though I'm sure any cutter would be fine. So I've just put my first 2 trays in the oven, and there was 20 biscuits on each tray. So I should get about another 6 biscuits out of this bit of dough. So we've got 40 biscuits in the oven at the moment, and we've got another 18 biscuits waiting to go in our second batch. I will pop these 18 into the fridge to stay cool while the first batch is baking. And they need to bake at 180 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. So I didn't put that second batch into the fridge. As I was putting them in the fridge, the timer went off for the first batch of biscuits. So I just swapped them around. Then I let the biscuits cool on the tray while the second batch baked, and I did the dishes. And now I've got my first batch of biscuits on the cooling rack, and the second batch is cooling on the trays. So I'm going to start making our icing. So into this bowl, we're going to put 150 grams of icing sugar. And 50 grams of butter. And we're going to use the whisk attachment. just going to start whisking those together while I juice my orange. So I've mixed the butter and sugar together until it's light and creamy and it all came together. It definitely went sort of sandy first, but I just kept whisking it and it did all come together. So now we need to gradually add the juice from our orange. So this is combined, but it looks sort of split. So it does say to whisk for 2 to 3 minutes to emulsify. So I'll do that. So it's kind of come together, but it's very, very runny. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more icing sugar just because it won't stay in the biscuit as it is. So that's probably just over a tablespoon more, and we'll see how this goes. So I've added about 4 tablespoons more, and it's still very liquidy, which I think is the problem when you say to add the juice of an orange, because obviously every orange is different. So I'm just going to try adding a little bit more icing sugar, and then I will see how that looks if I mix that in by hand instead of whisking. So this now has probably double the amount of icing sugar that the recipe calls for, but it is a much better consistency. And it says to put it into a piping bag and pipe it onto the biscuits, but I am just going to use a spoon. So because I had to make so much extra icing, I made 9 sandwich biscuits as they're meant to be, and the rest I just did icing. So that's what I've got left, which is much, much better than what I would have had I done sandwich biscuits. And my son has come in and he would like to try one, so I'm just going to jump straight into taste test. Go, buddy.
Thanks, Mum. Is that made of shortbread?
It's a butter biscuit, so it's simple. That's very nice. It's got a very good, nice, strong orange flavour. The icing is not too sweet, even though I added all that extra icing sugar. My orange was actually quite tart, so it still balances really well. I do think that if you had a sweeter orange, you would want to add the citric acid, which is an optional step in the icing. It just says to add a pinch at the end if you wish. But those are really, really nice. I really like them. What do you think, buddy? Got a thumbs up.
Them.
You like them?
They have the orange in it.
Delicious. Thank you for being here with me today as we made these orange, not sandwich biscuits. If you would like, I will pop another video here that you can enjoy between now and my next upload. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.